All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a classic fable by Hans Christian Andersen called The Beetle. And we're going to see what this tiny little insect with a huge ego can tell us about our own sense of self-worth and, the stories we tell about ourselves.
So let's just jump right in. It all starts with what seems like a simple question. You've got this beetle who has just crawled out of stable dung, right? He looks up at the emperor's incredible warhorse and doesn't see something to admire. Nope. He sees an equal. Or maybe even something less than himself. And that question? That's really the heart of the whole story. It kind of sets us up for what looks like a hero's journey. But it's all twisted. It's ironic. And what it really shows us is this powerful truth about how we see the world versus how it actually is. Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the emperor's stables, and we have this amazing horse and one major misunderstanding. Now, you really have to get this. These golden shoes the horse is wearing, they're not just some fancy decoration. They're basically a medal of honor. They're a symbol of true bravery earned in the middle of a battle where this horse literally saved the emperor's life.
But someone else thinks they're the one who really deserves those shoes. And here he is, our so-called hero. A beetle calls out from the muck, stretches his little legs, and immediately decides that a terrible injustice has just happened. And his demand, it's simple, it's direct, and it is just completely absurd. He wants golden shoes, too. So when the farrier, logically just dismisses him, does the beetle stop and think, maybe I'm overvaluing myself? No way. He just concludes the entire world has to be wrong.
And this right here, this perfectly sums up the beetle's whole way of thinking. He literally tells the farrier that the horse getting golden shoes is a personal slight against him. Can you believe that? In his mind, this whole thing was set up just to annoy him personally, and that feeling, that grievance, is what's going to drive his entire journey.
So he's totally convinced he's been wronged. And with that, the beetle storms out into the big wide world. But here's the thing. He's not looking for beauty or wonder. He's looking for proof that he's better than everyone else. His first stop is this beautiful flower garden. It smells like roses and lavender. It's idyllic. And there, he runs into some ladybirds and a caterpillar who are just, enjoying the moment. And the caterpillar is just so happy. It's not just loving the warm sun right now. It's dreaming about its future, about turning into a butterfly. It's just this little creature full of simple happiness and total optimism. And what does our beetle say to all this? He basically says, "You call this beautiful? There isn't even a dung heap." It's just perfect, right? It shows he can't see value in anything that isn't part of his own tiny little world. For him, if there's no dung heap, there's no beauty, period. Okay, so he keeps going, and pretty soon he gets caught in this massive rainstorm. For him, it's just miserable. But then he meets a couple of frogs, and guess what? They are absolutely loving it, having the time of their lives.
See, for the frogs, this is perfect. They love this weather. The rain, the moisture, they call it their fatherland. It's home. It's exactly where they want to be.
And again, the beetle just can't connect. He completely dismisses how happy they are and immediately compares it to his own standard, the emperor's stable. He's just totally incapable of seeing the world from anyone else's point of view. So you'd think maybe he'd fit in with his own kind, right? Well, he finds other beetles, he even gets married, but then he realizes that family means having responsibilities. So what's his move? He decides he's been taken in, tricked, and just abandons his new wife. It just goes to show his ego is so big he can't even get along with other beetles.
All right, so at this point, the beetle's big, grand journey to prove how important he is, it takes a really sharp turn. He suddenly loses all control of his life. He basically becomes a toy in a kid's game.
This whole quest for greatness just turns into this sad little involuntary trip. This is the beetle who thought he was the master of his own fate, right? And now he's literally tied to a stick on a broken shoe, totally helpless, floating away on what, to him, feels like a giant ocean.
So you'd think this would be his rock-bottom moment, right? A time for a little self-reflection? Maybe some humility? Nope, not a chance. His self-pity just goes into overdrive. He blames the entire world for not recognizing the only respectable person in it, which is, of course, him.
But then, just when it seems like it's all over, fate steps in.
A couple of young girls rescue him, they set him free, and just by pure luck, he manages to find his way back to the exact place he started. And he is ready for a big revelation.
He's completely worn out. He flies through an open window and, where does he land? Right on the mane of the emperor's horse. He's come full circle. He's traveled the world, he's suffered, and now, finally, he's ready to understand what those golden shoes are really all about.
So this is the moment, the climax of the whole fable. After everything he's been through, all the trials, the travels, the creatures he met, what is the profound lesson he learned? What's his big takeaway about the world and his place in it?
And here it is, the ultimate delusion. He decides the horse was given those shoes on his account. I mean, instead of learning a single thing about humility, he just rewrites the entire story to make himself the secret hero at the center of it all. The horse wasn't rewarded for being brave. No, it was rewarded for the honor of one day carrying the beetle.
And he even drops this little pearl of wisdom. He says traveling really expands the mind. He thinks his journey gave him all this perspective, but all it really did was double down on his own self-importance. The world's not so bad anymore, you see. Not because he's changed, but because he thinks the world has finally caught up and recognized how great he is.
And that's really the final thought the story leaves us with. I mean, the Beetle's journey is absurd, it's funny, it's a total exaggeration, of course. But maybe his habit of rewriting every story to make himself the hero, maybe that's a little more human than we're comfortable admitting.